Hello everyone and welcome back to another devlog on this farming slash idle game, still untitled so far. Last time we worked on a single player controller as well as the ability to pick a farm through a UI and place it down on a grid. This time we're going to be working on crops growing on the farms as well as harvesting them. We'll also work on some of the collectors that will help you collect the crops in your world, so let's get straight into it. I thought that I'd start off explaining how farming is actually going to work in the game instead of showing you some code of how I achieved doing it. We'll have an empty farm, in this instance a carrot, and over time it will grow up to 2 crops on it. Whenever the player or collector walks up to the individual crops, they can harvest them. Whenever the farm is empty again, it means it's ready to receive more updates, and therefore grow again. It's a very simple system, but it works really well, so let's talk about how I did it. Quickly before we get into that though, if you guys haven't already, then make sure to check out the Discord server where you can join, talk about the game or other game dev related things, as well as give good suggestions and view features early on before the videos come out. That's pretty much it. Let's get into how we've made the system. I'm now inside of the engine, and if we look over here on the right side on the inspector, we can see that there's a farm manager. Now, we have 2 variables in here. One's called farm amount and one is called updates per second. So this basically means that every second 10 updates will be distributed randomly towards 100 farms. Now, whenever I place down a farm, it will then add this farm into a list. In the updates, I generate a number between 0 and 100, and if that random number matches any of the indexes of the farm list, then it will simply pick that farm and update it. That needs to happen 3 times in order for 1 crop to grow. It's a bit easier if we go ahead and take a look at it in a bigger environment. So as you can see, the farm did grow the 2 crops, and then if I walk over to one of the crops, it will have a little outline on it. Same whenever I exit it, the outline disappears. If I then click either with my mouse or on X on the gamepad, it will then make this crop disappear. So the way that works is there's a little spot here, and whenever I click, anything that's highlighted will get collected in the area. So I can go ahead and I can just click on all of these, and of course in the future we will be given the player gold or a form of currency whenever they collect the crop. So that is pretty much the crops in the world working. We can also change the size of the crop if we want to, and everything should work fine. For now, I want to get the little carrot guy that you saw in the background working. So what we got to do is build him, apply some animations, and then get him walking around. I've been working on the collector system for a fair bit amount of time right now, and I've got it to a good starting point. So currently in the world, if I open up the collectors tab, we've got the first carrot guy. Now if I click it, it will go ahead and spawn one above my position, and he's currently just stood still, and after a bit he should start walking around in the world. I can put a few down if I want to. Calvin has so kindly worked on these walking animations, and I really like the Rayman style kind of character we got going on here, because we didn't really feel like animating things, so we decided, hey, let's just have floating arms and legs, and honestly I feel like it really suits the game. So if I go ahead and place down a farm, then you can see I feel like they really suit each other. As said in the last episode, the player is temporary, and I know he stands out. He's currently a scale of 2, so everything is upscaled. It will change eventually, just not sure what to make it yet. But yeah, this is the first state that the collectors are in. Now obviously we need to make it so that when a collector has been given a task, aka when a crop is grown, or if a collector is currently ready to harvest something, he'll enter a new state where he will find the crop and then go over here and then stand by the crop. And then after a bit of time, my plan is to make him collect it and then just go back to wandering unless there's a new task. If there is a new task, he will just walk over to the other crop, get that, and so on. It's been really fun setting up these guys because I've made a new finite state machine system. Now in case you don't know what that is, a finite state machine is essentially just, say you have the number 0, 1, and 2. Whenever he's 0, he will do one thing. If he's 1, he'll do another thing. But people usually use an enum for it, so like let's say state dot walking or something. The way I've done it, however, is a bit more of a robust system that allows me to reuse it on anything. So we'll have classes instead for everything, and it just makes it so that when we get to making enemies, I can throw the same finite state machine on them, and maybe even reuse states if they've been made well enough. Like the wandering state, for instance, I could reuse that on anything else. Next up, I'm going to get it working so that these guys have a new state, which is the walking to the crop state. It has been about a day and many hours, and we're finally getting onto something. Had to deal with this nasty bug for at least 5-6 or so hours. I just couldn't work it out. But anyway, we've got the crops growing in the world, and we've got the carrots guy that can be put down. Now when they enter the world, they will get asked whether or not there is a task available, and they will try to seek out a task, and when they do, they should walk up to a crop and try and collect it. I'm gonna have to interrupt myself here. Currently editing this, and yeah, the plan was to just rebuild the game, show it working, but at this moment is when everything just stopped working. So I've kind of just done one thing and then another thing, and yeah, we're back to square one. Obstacles are not to stop me though. You can see in the background that the carrots will now wander over to a crop and then collect it. It's been about a day or so. I had to refactor the entire, like every single state that was going on and parts of the manager that takes care of assigning them tasks, but they will now successfully wander around whenever they don't have anything to do, and then when something grows, as you can see over on the left, they'll both walk over and collect it. That happened to be in uniform as well. That was pretty cool. So this means that the AI is pretty much done for the collectors. I don't really see what else needs to be added to them. Obviously, some collectors will have different animations, and I need to fix a bug where they'll face the wrong way and then sort of turn right and harvest it instead of the way they're facing. That should be a pretty easy fix, but I am gonna say that this is how we want the collectors to work. They're a bit overpowered at the moment, so if you add in, let's say, this many, then no matter how many farms you have, they will always be there to harvest it. So we might add some delay or something for how long it takes them to actually like between certain states, sorry. So for instance, say he's just finished harvesting something, I might add like a 3 or something second delay before he can actually go over to a new crop again, because otherwise having just 3 or 4 of them is actually enough to maintain this entire land. So we need to figure out how to solve that issue, so hopefully I'll do that by the next devlog. There's something about watching your game work flawlessly just being so satisfying. Like watching these guys just go over and harvest the different crops, it's just perfect. I've also got it working so that when I harvest the crop that they're going for, they will just go straight back to looking for another job like this guy just did. He happened to find a carrot, but you can see if I take it, he should just stop doing what he's doing and just continue wandering about. That was the main thing that solved the bug, because what ended up happening was the carrot would think that, or when a carrot harvested its own thing, it actually reset itself instead of only when I did it, and it caused a loop to happen, and it was just terrible. Let's just not talk about the bug. Overall, I'm super happy with how the collectors work. I love their little animations. They're super silly, and I think it's great. I think it suits the style of the game really well. And yeah, it's working flawlessly now. That is going to be it for this devlog. I hope that you enjoyed watching me try to get these collectors work and just to view some of the bugs. In case you made it this far into the video, then make sure to leave a like on it. It really does help with the algorithm, and thank you so much for watching. The support on the first video has been amazing so far, so hopefully we can get to something similar. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next devlog.